A female district magistrate, dressed in a simple sari without any official escort or protocol, was traveling to her sister's wedding by taxi. In rank, her ordinary appearance concealed her true identity. Our story begins at around 0:42. When a group of traffic police officers flagged down the taxi she was riding in at a busy four-way intersection. "You can see the taxi is stopped here at the red light. Constable, license the Kate Hobe, Shoba Dite Hobe." Traffic police stopped their taxi and a constable aggressively demanded the license from the driver. At this point, the magistrate, sitting in the back seat, remained silent. Now it is 0:52, and the driver hands over his license to the constable. He looks very nervous. "Constable! Leki Pahari Court. Hobe. Apni Tusik Court, Paris." The officer then scrutinizes the license. The magistrate still keeps quiet. It's now 1:22, and the officer returns the license to the driver. In Bengali, the officer says something to the driver and then asks him to come out of the car. All this time, the magistrate has been silently observing the situation from the back seat. Now it is 1:34. The officer is talking to the other officers. One of the officers points towards the DC and says something to the head officer. This is where the trouble starts. Now it is 2:04. The officer turns towards the driver and says, "Number plate deke, Janai, Kivicharko Recho, Bari Bari. He accuses the driver of driving an unfit vehicle and says that if he does not get the number plate clear, he will be sent to jail. The officer's tone clearly shows that he is abusing his power. The driver tries to explain. The officer cuts him off and continues to berate the driver. Just then, one of the officers hands the driver a piece of paper. It appears to be a fine or penalty receipt. "Officer! Sola shilashi! Mon lik tekanai mon likasisilo, ta kifai mandre, takada edukan shuru, kore dekalam, netajata tuli maributaka dieduken, suru korahoga." The officer handed the driver a fine receipt for 21,500 taka, which he claims has already been paid by someone. He tells the driver that he needs to pay another 5,000 taka, or he will have to spend time in jail. The driver replies that he only has 200 taka in hand. The magistrate is still observing the situation from the back seat. The driver gets agitated and argues with the officer. He says he doesn't have any money and will go to jail if he has to. The officer reacts angrily. It is 4:42. The officer grabs the driver by the collar and shouts at him. "Officer! Catch kecho! Toma! Ba ki 200 taka mon likise silo. Netai 5,000 taka diedokan suruh korlecai. Ekane utna mon likase silo. Police wala mon likase chilo." The officer lets go of the driver and continues to shout at him. He accuses the driver of lying about having only 200 taka and says that the police officer who gave him the receipt must have pocketed the money. He tells the driver that he is being arrested and will be sent to jail. He also threatens to seize the vehicle and press charges against the driver, saying that the court will decide his fate. Just then, the driver turns towards the magistrate and says, "Didi, I am sorry, but I don't know what to do. I don't have any money. I am escare." The magistrate keeps calm and observes the scene for a moment. It is now 6:05. The officer orders everyone out of the car and announces his intention to confiscate it. A crowd has gathered by now. He tells them that the vehicle will be seized because the driver cannot pay the fine. The crowd starts murmuring. The magistrate steps out of the taxi and confronts the officer. Magistrate, bola! Bola kang commissioner. The driver interrupts and says, Commissioner, Madam Rankpa. As soon as the officer realizes his mistake, he becomes flustered. It is 6:15. He tries to make excuses, but the magistrate cuts him off. She reprimands him for misbehaving with a woman and says that she will suspend him if she finds out about the incident. She then asks the locals to let them pass. The officer tries to stop her, but she walks past him. She turns around and asks the driver why he did not tell them about her presence earlier. Driver! Madam, I didn't know what to do. They wouldn't listen to me. I thought you would help, she responds. I was waiting to see how far you would go. Now get out of here. I want to talk to these people. The officer tries to speak up, but she silences him. The magistrate addresses the crowd and expresses her disappointment in the police. She questions their training and the system that allowed such behavior. She criticizes their attitude and tells them that they should be ashamed of themselves. As the crowd disperses, she turns towards the officer and says, Get down on your knees and salute me. Complies. He drops to his knees and salutes her. Other officers present also drop to their knees and salute her. Soon more senior officers arrive and apologize to her. The magistrate accepts their apology. Meanwhile, the local officials try to convince the driver to accept the fine amount and let the matter rest. The magistrate overhears their conversation and asks them to leave. She then approaches the officer who had initially stopped the taxi. It is now 8:10, and she slaps him across the face. She reprimands him for his behavior and calls him corrupt, abusive, and shameful. She introduces herself as the Rampart DC and declares that she won't tolerate such actions from her subordinates. The officer stands frozen in shock. The magistrate continues to reprimand him and vows to punish him severely. She instructs the other officers to take him away and reminds them that they witnessed the entire incident. The officer is led away, and the magistrate turns to address the rest of the officers. She expresses her anger and disappointment and emphasizes that such misconduct will not be tolerated. She makes it clear that she holds them all responsible for maintaining order and protecting citizens. It is 9:30, and the magistrate continues to speak. She emphasizes the importance of their role in upholding justice and serving the community. She warns them that any attempt to tarnish the image of the department will be dealt with swiftly. The magistrate concludes her speech and orders the officer to return. The officer comes back and the magistrate continues her questioning. She wants to know why they did not intervene when the officer slapped the driver. One of the officers tries to justify their actions, but the magistrate cuts him off. She reprimands them for failing in their duty to protect citizens and uphold law and order. The magistrate turns towards the driver and asks him if he wants to file a complaint. The driver nods his head in agreement. The magistrate addresses the rest of the officers and announces her decision. She has suspended the errant officer and ordered the confiscation of his badge and weapon. She also instructed the SP to initiate arrest and a departmental investigation. The magistrate leaves with her team. The officer is escorted out by his colleagues. It is now 14:05. The magistrate has returned to her office after dropping the driver home. She calls the SP and discusses the progress of the investigation. The SP informs her that the officer's family has been informed and the necessary steps are being taken. Magistrate, the officer must be brought to justice. Let the truth be revealed through the investigation. There should be no delay in punishing the guilty. The SP assures her that the investigation will be thorough and fair. The magistrate ends the call and resumes her work. She reflects on the incident and reaffirms her commitment to justice. She believes in holding her subordinates accountable and ensuring that they serve with integrity. The magistrate receives a phone call from an unknown number. She answers the call and listens attentively. It is the driver from earlier. He thanks her for helping him and informs her that the police have not bothered him since the incident. He expresses his gratitude for her support. The magistrate assures him that she will personally monitor the case and ensure that justice is served. She ends the call with a sense of satisfaction, knowing that she made a difference in the life of an ordinary citizen. After further investigation, the officer was found guilty of all charges. He was subsequently fined 1 million taka and sentenced to 2 years in prison. This event became a symbol in Rangpur of integrity over abuse of power. The magistrate's actions set an example for ethical conduct and accountability among law enforcement officials. And that's all for today. See you in the next video.